like we've got a change in our lineup. We'd expected to see Jimmy King in the piston-powered U3, and unfortunately he is out, and because of that we've got a substitute, and that's Kip Brown, a brand new rookie driver in the U17 R Gang Racing.
We need to point out for those of you watching that this is going to be a flag start in the dash. It will not be on the clock the way the heats will be the rest of the weekend. The 4 boats just went by us here on the start-finish tower. They're going to do one more lap, and if they come by in good formation with all 4 boats side by side, then we'll see the green flag come out, and we will be racing for 3 laps and the dash for cash.
And you just saw our drivers who were expected to be out in the dash for cash. We'd actually expected to see 5 boats out there, and we've had 1 substitution. That's sort of the way the Dash for Cash runs, though. It's a voluntary kind of a thing. We're looking at the Oboy Oberto, and on the outside of him is Brian Perkins in the Albert Lee Appliances Spirit of the Navy. The other boats are kind of hidden in the spray at this point, but we do have the Graham Trucking Spirit of Detroit, the U13. You can see that boat now coming up in lane number 3, and out on the outside is Kip Brown, rookie driver in Unlimiteds. This is the first time he's ever had a chance to race against other boats on the Unlimited circuit, but he's got plenty of hydro driving experience.
Driving a boat owned by his uncle Nate Brown, a name very well known to you hydro fans across the country. It looks like Steve David and the Oboy Oberto will have the inside, and it's going to be very hard to get around the boat from Madison, Indiana, if that's the case. He was the fastest qualifier. We had a lot of boats up near 160 in qualifying. Steve was over 161, and it looks like he's going to have that inside lane mark. Makes him an early favorite, I would think.
He's the fastest boat on the fleet right now, the 4 boats that are on the Columbia River. As we come down to the start, we will keep an eye on the starting line, and the green flag flies, and we're underway with the Dash for Cash at the Columbia Cup.
Kip Brown made a good start on the outside, but of course it was a flag start. Nobody had to worry about the time. Lane 3 was actually back a little bit. J. Michael Kelly in the yellow and green boat, not quite with the other 3 as they go into the first turn. Big advantage on the inside for Steve David in that beautiful handling new Oboy Oberto, and he's going to be the leader up the backstretch, Mark.
He's almost
first time.
Yes, and he almost has about a half a Rooster Tail lead, but it's J. Michael Kelly's buried in the Rooster Tail as well.
Here comes
Brian Perkins, and he's right up next to Steve David. Look at that. U50 Unlimited Hydroplane, and now Kelly on the outside.
So Kelly, Perkins, and Steve David are all side by side, and we know the 4th boat is back a little bit. Here comes Kip Brown. He lost some ground in that turn. So it's a 3-boat race into the second turn of the first lap. On the inside, Steve David, the Oboy Oberto, appears to have it under control, but right next to him, Brian Perkins is staying right on his hip in that U50 Spirit of the Navy, Albert Lee Appliance, and then very, very quick, J. Michael Kelly on the outside will be 3rd as they come across the line.
At the end of lap number 1 in our Dash for Cash, 3 times around the Columbia Cup course, and Steve David, Brian Perkins, and J. Michael Kelly, that's what you're seeing in your screen right now, all 3 of them right there together as they head to the Blue Bridge turn, and there's not one full Rooster Tail between any of them. They are very, very close still. Steve David comes off that turn in first, but the other 2, Brian Perkins and J. Michael Kelly, still right there with him.
Kip Brown just coming by. He's back almost a half a lap in 4th place, but the first 3 boats all in 1 Rooster Tail on the backstretch. So you see 1 boat, 1 Rooster Tail. The other 2 are hidden from you in the spray. Steve David, probably the fastest of these 3 on any given day, but he has a lot of speed off to his right. Now watch as they turn toward you. The boat you see is Steve David, the Oboy Oberto out of Madison, Indiana. Steve from Lighthouse Point, Florida. Now you see young Brian Perkins, and here comes J. Michael Kelly. We have the veteran and 2 youngsters here, Mark, putting on a good show.
And we're coming down to the end of lap number 2. This will be the white flag lap. 1 more lap to go. Is J. Michael Kelly, you can see on your screen, has passed Brian Perkins, but they all 3 are still within 1 or 2 boat lengths. Beautiful shot as they head toward the Blue Bridge turn. You're looking at Steve David out in front, Brian Perkins, and there's J. Michael Kelly. It's still that close.
It's a lot further around the race course for J. Michael on the outside, but he has a lot of boat speed in that yellow and green boat, and we saw it here on the front stretch as he pulled up past Brian Perkins, almost got even with Steve David. Now we'll see what happens here on the backstretch. Looks like Perkins has fallen back a little bit. This is the last lap of the dash. Steve David will put the hammer down, and it should be all Oberto from here on.
Watching Steve David in the Oboy Oberto, 2/3 of the way up the backstretch now. Final turn for the Dash for Cash for 2008. It looks like Brian Perkins has moved just a little bit to the inside, almost into the Rooster Tail of Steve David. He's back there in 3rd as we see them coming around the turn. J. Michael Kelly going to make a run at Steve David, but it's not going to be enough. Steve David crosses the line, he will be the winner of the Dash for Cash. J. Michael Kelly comes to your screen right there, and he will be in second place. Brian Perkins and the Albert Lee Appliances in third.
So that's the way they finish our first racing of the weekend. The Dash for Cash, Steve David, the inside. I'm not sure how they decided he would have that, but when you put that boat in lane one, simply too much for anybody to handle.